most real thing I have ever experienced in my life. I got fired from working at Red Robin for doing that. When do we get to bury him in a thing and jerk off on him, though? I'd say I could take on 3 11-year-olds. And he clicks the button, and he's just this woman cussing him the fuck out. This is the weirdest theory I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, in a lot of ways, Big Boy's never left.
So dumb.
He will tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence for that. I have intuition and I'm deep, and then people fall for absolute monsters on a regular basis.
Oh, hello. Wow, I actually leaned in there. Sounded like we're doing a real show and everything. This is this week's episode of Two Hippies, One Drunk.
We are doing a real show.
I know.
That's happening.
And also, you immediately just undercut it by pointing it out.
That's the Eric Fady. That's how I got to where I am somehow. that's my entire life. That's all I do. And I know that says something about me, but it is what it is. You guys are listening to the two. Oh, guys, this is 2021. You people are listening to the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast. I'm this week's host, Eric Fady. Thanks so much for checking us out. If you have not liked our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. We really appreciate it. For podcasts like this, that is huge as far as making this thing grow, and that's what we want, whether you want it or not. And so this show's a little different than most podcasts. I know. I'm sorry, guys. This is a little different than most podcasts.
Yeah, why are you watching?
Why are you listening to this?
What do you mean, me?
No, just the listener that is listening it, I guess, out of spite.
And it's like, I don't want it to grow. What is it like? They're just like a super hipster.
There was,
I listened to this shitty podcast, but I don't want it to go anywhere.
There was a thing at the radio show, at the morning show that I used to, a big morning show. I think I've referenced it before, but I always never know, and I want to say it anyway. But I interned at this pretty big morning show in the Detroit area called the Drew and Mike Show, and there was a long-running gag. Now, that was a radio show with quite a bit of large audience, so they certainly didn't have to worry about 1 or 2 people not liking it. I'm just saying. But, well, I wasn't the guy.
Mr. Big Shadow.
I was just an intern. I'm just
the business. It should be 2 hippies, 1 businessman.
I'm just saying that.
Why are you wearing a monocle this week, Eric?
I don't have my monocle, actually. It's over. I want to. Like I've said, if I get rich at some point.
My monocle.
Do you own a monocle?
No, but here, 1 second.
Okay, I'm excited for the reveal of it. For the listeners, he's legit getting something.
No.
He has a broken set of glasses.
I have a broken set of glasses, and I put a post one time on Facebook saying that I was doubly smug because this is a double or a bi or whatever. It's anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, if I ever get rich, I will get laser eye surgery, but only on one eye, so I can have a monocle on the other one.
That's the move. That's classy.
Yeah, that is classy.
And what I wanted to say real quick in reference to the person that was watching us or listening, but you don't like the show or want it to grow. There was this guy that had called into the Drew and Mike Show at one point, and he called up even and would email, but called up and got in the air one time and was like to say that he listens for 5 minutes every day just to make sure so he can make sure the show still sucked because he thought the show was terrible.
Well, thank you.
And they would regularly make reference to it, where the host would just be like, "Well, I hope they remembered his name. I don't remember his name. They'd be like, I hope John is. I hope he was listening to that 5 minutes because it was pretty good, I think, or something like that, or whatever."
But I'm not gonna lie, I love a good hate listen.
Right, yeah. Like he called up to tell them that he listens every 5. And I don't know if he knows how terrestrial radio works, but that doesn't matter as long as they get to listen. But anyway,
are you gonna finish the introduction?
Oh, sure, why not? Why the hell
happens
not?
Every week,
right? It's fine.
Not on my weeks.
That's because I'm funny. Anyway, this show is a little different than most in that we rotate hosts each week between the 3 longtime comic buddies, Scott, Ryan, and Tyler Charles.
Yeah,
and once again, I'm Eric Fady hosting this week's episode of Two Hippies, One Drunk. So, this episode, I kind of had an idea for it a few weeks ago. Is I guess the best way to word it, I said was we said last week it was going to be called lies that we believe as kids. I really kind of meant lies/misconceptions we have growing up. Yeah. Because I just think there's a lot of things when you're a kid. You look back on it and you had these thoughts of like things that were either going to be more important when you grew up, or things that meant a lot, or just weird things as kids that you don't have a concept for yet. So
Yeah.
I came up with a list. I asked you guys to come up with some ideas, and I was trying to decide how to like format this because it's a little bit of a weirder topic. But I put a thing on my own Facebook page asking people, and I'm gonna go start right off with somebody that shared something because one, I thought it was funny, and two, it was cool that we got some response. Which, by the way, I should say, right, we forgot to say this. We're getting a lot more response for Tyler's drawings he does each week, which is awesome. And I think that person, I'm sure we'll send that person that complimented it.
Yeah,
the drawing because he's the first person to really really go off and reference it.
Yeah,
so,
and he said he'd do that, and I'm pretty sure he did. So
okay, cool. So if anybody, one thing I've learned, by the way, doing this stuff is that you think you say it like, well, we said it once and that's enough. No, dude, people need it.
What he's referencing is someone commented on one of the pictures I have for this about how much they liked it. And if you also like that art stuff, leave us a review and 5 stars on iTunes. And I'll send you a print of any of the pictures that we have so far, or you can get an hour tarot reading by Scott.
Yeah.
Your choice.
Yeah. Which is
yes.
both very cool.
Not for the asshole who gave us a 1-star review.
Oh God, no, he doesn't get
Not that
a
guy.
review.
He gets a curse on him.
Right. Some black magic. But anyway,
it's been given.
But it's really cool, man, because it's honestly, I forgot that I wanted to reference it at the beginning, just because I think that's a really cool thing that Tyler does every week, and I look forward to seeing them every week. And it's definitely starting to get some heat, so that's pretty cool. And so if you guys see those and want that, let us know, and we'll do a raffle or whatever. We'll find a way.
Can we really quick before you get to the misconceptions? Just when we were talking about hate watch and stuff, for research for a podcast a couple of months ago, I listened to Jamie Kennedy's podcast.
Yes, as I remember,
he's still in my rotation.
That's hilarious.
Every now and then, I'll be like, he'll have a topic. Sometimes, if he has a topic that I'm like, oh my God, I want to hear what this asshole's take is.
Have you listened to anyone that you thought he didn't sound like? Like, have you listened to one where you thought, he doesn't sound that bad, or are they all pretty douchey?
They're all insanely douchey.
That's
and to
interesting.
be honest, if it sounds like he wouldn't be that bad, I'm probably not going to listen. I'm there for the douchiness.
Right. And actually, the funny thing also, after you mentioned that, when we did that episode, like the next week, I watched this really cool documentary on it was originally on something else, but they finally put it on Netflix. Like, I wanted to get it before, but I'm too cheap. And it was the last blockbuster, and they have a documentary about the last blockbuster ever that's left.
Yep.
And he was in there because apparently Jamie Kennedy, that's how he got his big break in Hollywood, was he was a part of this blockbuster promotion crew that made it to like commercials. And I guess it was him, 2 people, and then actually Jim Gaffigan, believe it or not. And they were on commercials, and then they went around the country and shit and did like promotions and shit for blockbusters. So it was kind of funny.
Jamie Kennedy's arc followed the blockbuster arc, really.
Huge than nothing.
Yeah.
Completely devastating.
Yeah, his podcast is the last blockbuster of celebrity
you know what's funny is we mentioned it. I mentioned it on the show that I hadn't talked about this much on social media, but like my parents owned some 2 family video stores growing up, and I always feel weird saying family run video stores, not family run video stores, like a mom and pop.
Slander family video, just roll with it.
I like family video. I liked it until they were done with the CBD oil and shit like that. But anyway, but the funny thing is like when I watched that movie, I remember for the longest time going no, I like it, man. I like going to the movie. And I did, because I was just so ingrained with it growing up. Like, I like going to the store and picking my movie out and this and that. But as I was watching it, I'm like, in reality, if you gave me that choice now, why would I do that? I have 4 streaming networks.
You'd chill at home.
I would do it. I've gone to family video in the last.
I definitely like the experience, but I wouldn't if you gave me an easier app. If I don't have to leave
That's
my
the
house.
problem.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, and I know we got to get to your topic.
No, I know. It's all right.
This is my thing with family video is I've never been groveled to by a business in the way that family video does.
True.
Family video is on their knees begging me to come.
Yeah, that's true.
And
very true.
I mean, like they will literally. I will get text
Feel like
messages,
a king,
dude.
Just going into a
I will
king.
get text messages from them and stuff, being like, "Hey, we erased your $80 in late fees.
Oh, no
and we'll
shit.
give you 5 movies for $1. Just please come in."
Yeah, no
We
shit. That's
erased
awesome.
Your $80. Why you got an $80?
I don't know how you have those at freaking Family Video because like they
Yeah.
almost like they kind of like let you
I
rent
thought
videos
the
for
extent of their debt could go to like $10 or something.
Oh no,
Like
you
$80. Like,
Oh no, you know,
You
rent
start-
half the store.
you start
Those things
renting.
are like 10 cents or something, right?
The thing is, when you don't return them, it
Okay.
starts to become an issue.
yeah, and it's funny because I did take a long time to be honest with you. I took when I met you guys, I was living in the west side of Michigan, and stuff, and like I was absolutely still renting because I didn't have any many friends at first, especially at first and stuff, and I was 100% going and renting DVDs at Family Video. And shit. Like I got way late to the game of Netflix and stuff, but it was just I was watching that. And like I said, I have a personal connection, and I still was like, it's kind of nice having this stuff all here.
Dude,
Anyway,
Redbox sucks ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
terrible.
stand Redbox.
No.
terrible.
It's the jukebox version of like a store. Like it's just so terrible.
It is, and it's expensive,
Yep.
and there's like a dozen movies in there.
Yeah, it's not even a lot.
This is so dumb. It's not like I once tweeted, like I saw somebody running a Doorbox and I was like, I don't remember exactly what my tweet was. It was like, it was just a stupid thing because the OK Boomer thing was popular at the time or something. And I was like, hey, I just saw this person, at Redbox running a thing. OK Boomer or something. Did I do it? I don't remember how I did it, but like Redbox actually got back to me and was like, blah, 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 or something on their Twitter.
Right.
Defending themselves on Twitter.
That's what I'm saying. Redbox has a fucking attitude. Family Video is like
Please come in.
I've never.
That's
I've
a good
never
point, man.
been
They could have easily
such a
gone
pathetic
right.
groveling by
So,
business in my life.
anyway,
Shows and misconceptions, right?
Right. So let's get into these. And so, like I said, I wanted to start off with somebody that replied to a post I'd made because one, I just thought it was cool. I'm not going to say his full name because I've learned over the years that you never know. But if he listens to the episode, his name is John, and he's going to know who he is based on what he said. So I thought this was kind of cool. So he said, because I thought it could go down a route that very easily when you're young, you can have high misconceptions about what it's about. And so he said he used to think when he was a kid that oral sex meant you were having phone sex. Like he didn't realize.
Having a conversation.
Yeah, he thought that was.
I mean, technically, he's not wrong. It's just a weird take.
Yeah, right, and so it got me like thinking about like, do you? I have a share of memory, and I know we learned about Scott like first boner in my sex episode and stuff. But like, if you can, I'll share something, and if you can think of something else in your mind, like that as a kid. So I remember being on the bus one time, and someone telling me like how kids were made, and what they said was like, a kid is you get pregnant when he goes, a boy has to put his penis into the girl's mouth, and then they didn't even know where it went after that. They just said you put your penis in the girl's mouth, and then she gets pregnant. And I just remember going like, why? Like, are you serious? Like, why would anyone?
Mouth?
Yeah, like, why would anyone want to do that? Like,
How long until you found out that wasn't the case? Like, what age did you?
I'm bad. I don't actually know.
I still kind of think that's true. I'm not entirely sure.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. But yeah, I was just.
I don't remember exactly what I found out. How
that's not real.
I don't remember when I exactly found out the pregnancy wasn't real, but I do remember that. Like, I remembered this. Just so you guys remember any like weird rumors, like when you were kids?
Okay. So you just brought up like blowjobs or whatever, oral sex.
Yep.
And like, I would say the first time I ever got a blowjob, I was like, we were teenagers, and like, I'm assuming.
Fuck
because
you, by the way.
The phrase is, blowing somebody or sucking dick.
Yeah.
Like it was literally, it was the girl that did it. Yeah, like sucked on it.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like,
and the thing is, are you like
doing that to the extent that it hurts? But it really, I've always thought that was weird that they call it a blowjob because nobody's blowing on your dick.
No,
like they're sucking your dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, it'd be weird if somebody did that, just like like on your
That
dick?
is a good
I don't
question.
know.
Like, I wonder what I should look up. Why is it called that? Because you're right. That's and when you're younger, even though it took me a lot longer to get to that point. So when you're younger, like by the time I got
nasty term though, that's a problem. Suck job.
One of them.
You know, you could in a weird way. I feel like rim job makes more sense almost because it's like around the rim of your dick. And I didn't know what a rim job was.
When you say that, by the way,
you thought it was around the rim of your dick.
I didn't know what it was.
Okay,
I just was confused.
When you say that, I will say this: I don't know when I found out how actual pregnancy worked, but honestly, even though I like access to porn, they don't say things in porn for the most part and stuff like that, and like. There are many of those sayings I didn't know, dude. And I didn't go through the public school system. I went through this weird Montessori system, if you remember. There was like I was in like Montessori school from 4th grade and then even into into Lutheran school until I went to 8th grade, in regular public school again. So to me, like I didn't go, and I know you guys had some interesting experiences too, but like I didn't go through those periods where kids almost like. I didn't like learn. I didn't have kids my own age that knew what was going on. So I remember being in like high school still and people saying some of these terms and I had no effing clue what they were.
For years thought that tossing your salad meant like just tickling somebody's balls. For a long time. For so long.
How did that misconception come about?
I don't, because somebody said it and like it was a situation where it was like I was like, yeah, I know what that is, and it's like I had no idea what that fucking was.
No,
but in my head when they said it, that's the first image that came to mind, and it just stuck. And then I found out, through porn, what tossing salad.
Okay, first of all, I have no idea. Where does tossing salad come from? How is
that's a great question.
How is that a term for eating?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know. You're not tossing anything.
No, there's no salad involved.
No, if I'm correct, by the way, to be honest with you, I still don't know that I'm 100%. It's eating ass, right?
I think it is eating ass.
It's eating ass.
Yeah. But I for sure was always like, oh yeah, it's just when they tickle your balls. Like
I thought it was just fucking. I thought for the longest it was just a term for fucking.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tossing salad.
Yeah.
Did you ever tell anyone you toss somebody's salad? But
yeah, then they're ask you like you're like
fucking.
No, because it's such a weird term. Okay. How am I going to bring it?
So you thought, and contextually, you thought.
You had no idea.
So contextually, you thought that someone could say like, "How'd it go last night?" You could just be like, "Yeah, we tossed salad." I mean, or something like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would have been like, "Oh yeah."
And it was just like they had sex.
I tossed her salad. She tossed my salad. I have no idea.
And like, I'm not even laughing at you. I'm just laughing because I didn't even, dude. Many of these things, like I said, through my own like naive kind of childhood, I didn't know either. Like I remember, dude. I wish I could remember the term, but even in the religious school, I wish I could remember what they said. But they were literally like, because I was such a loser that these kids all went with each other. Even in the religious school, I was a fucking outcast because it's like. All these kids went. It was like one of those schools where they all went to 1st grade together, 2nd grade together, 3rd grade, and I just popped in 7th grade. They've known each other for their whole lives. And I'm just there. And I remember them doing the same thing like that. It wasn't toss your salad, but it was something like that. And I didn't know what they were talking about, and I was so nervous and insecure. And I remember just like saying I did even or something. And it's like. Because it's
so many terms when I was a kid, I'd just be like, I don't want to be the dumb one. So like, yep. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Most people, don't want to be the dumb one in the end. So a lot of times a lot of us, there are those people that know, and there's a lot of people I think in the end.
And it's like, if the thing is I'm glad I wasn't somebody who knew, because it's like, you're a kid and you know what tossing said. You found out some dark way. Like, how did you find that out? You know for real how that happened. Either it happened to you or you've seen some dark sights.
Yeah,
as a kid.
I would say like I'm different than you guys. Boring, like I'm an asker. I've always been an asker. Like I will just be
yeah. Oh, dude, I didn't know what you were saying. Because we're talking about tossing salad and stuff, and then you're like, I'm an ass. Like you were saying it very much like asker to me.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the same thing. Like whatever. Any other like
so here's
misconceptions you have?
I have another one that was really, that was really big for me, and that was And this is so crazy. But again, going back to this morning show that I used to listen to, by the way, as a kid, like before I was even an intern or anything, and they did a lot of radio drops. And there's that freaking Adam Sandler in Billy Madison, where they're like, oh, turn your pages to 69. And he's like, 69. And like, that's a drop. And he would play it all the time. And dude, until I was out of high school before I found out what that was. And I would laugh at it all the time.
All the time.
And I wouldn't even laugh at it. Like,
No
I was just laughing at it because I thought it was fun. I thought it was just, it was on the show, so it must be funny. But I didn't even know why it was funny.
I feel like 69 is one of the earliest things I did know.
Really?
Like, I was like, yeah, I know what that is.
How did you learn?
I feel like it was... it had to be porn, so I had to be like that essentially when I was probably 13.
What did you say, like let's 69 or something?
No, I saw some people 69ing.
You
like,
did?
My first girlfriend, I definitely was like, I know about this thing. I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Same. She said, yeah, hell yeah. I mean,
See,
we're
this,
all in.
by the way, I would tell you this. Going back to my I could call it a fear or diswant of oral sex. Like, in a sense, you guys are the reason. Like, if I had experienced these things like you did at that age, I think that I'd be such a different person. But I had no like experience sexually, and by the time I did, it was like I was just getting it over with, and so I had so much weird thoughts that I'd build up about it. Like, and like I feel like that, like you said, you just had this girlfriend. You're like, oh, I saw this, and she's up for it, and you went through, like, you got out of that like awkward phase, like you learned. Yeah. What that shit tastes like and all that. I don't know, whatever and shit.
Can we talk about, though, how 69ing doesn't really work or function the way it's supposed to?
I don't know, because it doesn't.
The problem is, okay, if she's on top of you.
on top, it's fine.
If she's on top of you and she's sucking her dick, you're licking her pussy, but the clitoris is on the wrong side. So then you're tonguing around a hole.
Doesn't it also?
No, you hold them up. You hold them up and you get all of it. What are you talking about? They're not just like,
it's backwards.
It's like right down here. You just gotta fucking flick your tongue down there. Why are we talking about?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Well, let me ask you this.
It does. It absolutely does. I've had some great 69 experiences.
Doesn't it?
Very positive.
And I have none of it, so I'll ask. Does height have any? Like, what if you're completely different heights?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe I've never been with anybody who was.
I have been with somebody not drastically different, but like 2 inches taller than me for sure. Because I'm short.
2 inches is fine. I imagine if you're like, I'm like 5'7", she's like 6 foot. Then it might really.
See, here's the thing, though. You guys, and not to be mean, but you guys, like, I'm 6'2". There's not a lot of girls.
Yeah,
a lot of girls are almost like are several inches shorter than me. So
yeah,
I think it could be like I could be just like licking their stomach or something,
right.
Which actually I'd rather do.
Back of their leg, their kneecap.
You're like, wait, or her feet or something.
Which actually I'd be fine with me if you know. To be honest,
I was gonna say too. Okay, really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Talking about 69, like I had. When I was a kid, I was probably 8 or 9, and this is like a weird memory I always have, is my mom was born in 1969. And
Hilarious.
There was one time she would...
I'm sorry.
You are a grown man, Aaron.
I know.
You are 36 years old.
37.
30, Jesus.
Jesus.
Grandpa Fanny over here laughing in 1969.
I know, crazy. Go ahead.
37, God.
But no, okay. I was at the store with my mom and she was buying liquor, and this jackass at the groceries.
Oh, here we go.
Like, you know my mom. My mom is the most like dignified, kind, like humble woman in the entire world. She hands him her ID. And
Here we go.
1969, huh?
What did she do? What was your mom's reaction?
I remember visibly seeing that my mom was irritated. And then, like, we finish up the groceries, and I'm like, why was that funny? And she's like, it wasn't.
This dude, you got to read the room. Like, you can do that with a dude, honest to God. You do it with a dude. You're doing it with a mom, with a kid right there.
Kid.
Like,
yeah. Not today. Not
seriously.
Not right now.
I got to be honest, though. I'm not going to say I would or wouldn't do it. In this me at 37, even though I would be laughing inside still, I would probably not do it.
Yeah.
Dude, if I had been in my Rite Aid days, like in high school or some shit, I might have, to be honest.
Yeah. I can picture this guy's face, dude. He was too old. He was like our age.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna come on with one more thing off a list that I created. Then I'll ask you guys if you had anything. And this is like, dude, this is so corny. But I was really trying to think of like stuff that, like, again, as a kid, you're just so. Life is just so weird when you're younger because you just don't know anything yet. And so I'm gonna go. This is really kind of, like I said, this is kind of a childish thing in a way. But like when I was New Year's would come right every year, and it'd be like you couldn't stay up as a kid. I would fall asleep. I'd try and fall asleep.
Yeah.
But my parents would always talk about, oh, you gotta stay up to watch the ball dropping. And dude, I swear to God, I when I was a kid, I remember thinking that they just like. For some reason in New York on New Year's, they just dropped a ball from a building. Like not like not like they do it.
Thing.
Like like they literally just chucked a ball off a building and it dropped and everyone just jumped up and down or something. So I was wondering, like, I don't know if you have anything that you can think of like along those lines, like a kid that you just remember thinking so stupidly looking back on it.
What?
I was going to say, this is a misconception I still may have as an adult. I don't understand. You saying the phrase ball dropping made me think about it. Well, people will be like, oh, yeah, their balls dropped or whatever.
Right.
I always remember having testicles. Is that not how that works?
I don't know. No. You don't. They've dropped. They for sure. I mean, not like over time. It's not like, oh shit, my balls.
It's not like one moment. It's like they just slowly descend over time, like a fucking hourglass.
Yes,
like
turning. Yes, the hourglass that leads to puberty.
Really, I honestly didn't know either. I thought
it's like
maybe
a slow developing. You don't have balls when you're fucking born.
I don't know if I believe you.
I'm telling you, dude.
I almost want to look into it, but
because you didn't have testosterone before that. Like I'm not entirely
a moment. Wouldn't it be?
No, it wouldn't be like, oh shit, because
you
be growing in, and then it fills with semen, and then you hit puberty and stuff. Like it's just a slow progression. It's not a moment where your balls drop.
They should have been talking to me about this in sex ed instead of playing Superman by Eminem.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Definitely should have been doing.
Because I don't. Are you still sure about? I feel like if nothing else, it's just like one day.
No,
they just
probably. I feel like
one day
that's what I
just drop.
There can't be
when they're full of semen or whatever. Like you
maybe they do. I'm not entirely sure about that. Maybe that is actually. So you're of the opinion that balls actually drop.
Yeah, because there's a spot like you can have your balls like they go up, drop up in, and then they drop out.
Yeah, that's
so
probably
it's like
true.
that happening for the first.
Maybe I just never felt it. It never happened to me where I was like, oh shit.
I certainly didn't have a period of weeks or months where I was like, oh, they're a little bit further down.
Well, you know what's funny? I don't even remember my voice changing. Like they always in TV shows, there's always like I know they have to do it in TV shows because they're kind of just doing adolescent cartoons or stuff. But I don't ever remember any distinct thing of my voice changing. I don't remember any. Like I never remember this moment where I was squeaky and then all of a sudden I was just like or whatever, and now I have a voice.
And you were saying things about holiday. I was gonna say it's different for me and Scott. Like I even made that picture about Santa Claus, but like that big lie that people tell their kids that Santa Claus is real. Like we didn't have that. We were Jehovah's Witnesses. Mm-hmm. So I always thought it was kind of I have definitely fucked over other people's misconceptions of Santa. Because
did you do it on purpose, or were you just like you didn't even know?
No, I didn't really know. I didn't really know because they were just like, "Yeah, Santa's real," and I'm like, "No, he's not. That's bullshit. Like, what are you talking about? That's insane. Like,
it is so ridiculous. I can't believe
I started like breaking it down to the kid, and like he got upset. His parents were mad at my parents because. Like I spoiled Santa for him,
which is so dumb. It should be a relief for them, by the way. But
exactly. At least somebody else did it, and they didn't have to break their little kid heart.
And your friend you're talking about, he was too old.
Yeah, no, he was like 11 or 12.
Gotcha.
Like way.
That is the weirdest lie.
Like 7, right? 6.
I mean, you and I both very strongly feel you don't ever lie to a kid about Santa Claus. But if you're gonna do it, 6 or 7.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. When they're old enough.
Well, you know what's weird about that, though?
Closer to getting his driver's license and being born.
I would say it's an interesting thing sometimes, though. Like in a weird way, like again, dude, the whole thing is kind of weird to me. And one of the co-hosts of the Detroit cast had a thing where he didn't tell his kids about Santa. Like he didn't say he didn't exist. He just never brought it up. And that's how he kind of went about it.
What did they think? They
didn't think anything.
Oh.
They just kind of went through their life and just. But the thing is, but if you do it when he says the age, there is a weird thing like where I had a sister though. That's the problem. If it's just a one kid, it's like, dude, you're right. He can't sit there at 11. Now he shouldn't be believing it really. But
no, he's the youngest child, just for the record.
What's up?
He's the youngest child.
Oh, okay, that's ridiculous. Even more so then. But it was a funny
like being like ideologically like still on the nipple.
Yeah, just stunted.
Yeah, right.
Stunted.
Yeah.
Like it stunts your like.
But it was like weird
health.
Because I do remember like at a point where I didn't believe anymore. But like, it was. I didn't want to ruin it for my sister, even though like I already knew. But so it's a weird. It's the weirdest
like,
fucking.
I don't understand that. Like, who is that?
How old were you?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't old.
How did
I was
you
not.
Find out?
I don't even remember the moment I found out. I did find my presents one year, but I think I knew already even then. Like, I don't think it was like, oh my God, what are these here for?
It was just kind of like putting things together over years.
Yeah. Well, I do remember this. I will tell you this. And when let me say two things. One, when you go like about this lie, I know it sounds dumb, but if you're as a kid, if you're being told it and it's fun, it seems like a fun thing, even though it is really weird,
damaging and weird. And
I know.
Literally, the first time you get told a lie by your parents where it's provable.
I know it's bizarre.
And that's the thing too, is like when you're a kid, you rely on your parents entirely for your understanding of reality.
Yeah.
I used to. I've said before, if I was ever a father, I would 100% once my kids started talking, but before he was in school, I'd like start saying like, this is red and this is blue. But I'd have them be fucking the opposite.
Really fuck up their head.
Oh, just fuck them up.
No, that's blue. Like, no, that's colorblind. No, my dad's a dick.
That's blue. I will say this.
Being grown and still fucking them up sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I do remember
pranks on your children. Like life pranks. Too.
I really wouldn't, but I would, but that's why I'm not a father. But I do remember though going out to I remember going out to dinner. I was kind of a brat as a kid, and my parents went on a date night one time. Yeah. And like we had a babysitter, and I hated the babysitter. And I'll admit I was a fucking asshole. I cried or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they finally just took me. Like literally, they went to dinner and like a movie, and they just took me because I was fucking being an asshole. Yeah. And they're sitting at dinner, and they start talking, and my dad started saying like, oh, and this credit card bill from Christmas this year really blah, blah, blah. And I literally was at this age. I don't remember how old I was, but I said, don't you mean, I thought, doesn't Santa pay for that stuff or whatever? And my dad's like, oh, well,
yeah, sure. I was going to say another one. I've always thought, like, now that you brought that up, like the credit card thing made me think of, like, I always thought my parents were rich as hell.
I'm glad you went this way.
So much money all the time. And I'm like, how? Like, whatever I want, I get. But I mean, my parents didn't even like buy me a ton of stuff. I just had the misconception that they had all the money in the world because we had a house.
I'm glad you brought that up because I remember thinking as a kid, like if you had a credit card, I mean, that was just like you said, rich. Like you have a credit card. I mean, you can buy whatever you want.
My dad had a car phone, one of the old ones. That, in the center console, and I was like, oh man, he must be like a CEO at a company or something. Big guy. I remember thinking too, like he was important because he worked at this place in Denver that had a pop machine that would like spit out pop for free. Yeah. It was just a perk that they got there. But we were like, oh my God, he's a king. He gets as much pop as he wants. Like, and my dad was just, an employee. Just a
guy. Yeah, he was just a guy at a place.
And I was like, he's the king.
It is weird the way your conception of that changes though. Cause I do remember even like when I was a kid and stuff, understanding like, oh, these motherfuckers, they pay for a car. They pay for a house. Like I would just buy video games constantly.
Right. Why wouldn't you?
$60. It's got to be nothing.
Right. Like look at this. Look, I'm not gonna fucking look at this. 1, 2, 3. I got 4 credit cards right here. Like, you know what I mean? Like I must be fucking loaded. But really, I just got a bunch of debt.
Yeah. Just like our parents.
Right. No, but you're right when you said it about your parents. Like, it's like, dude, I remember one time, like when we first moved into the house that I still live in actually, but whatever. But like we didn't have grass yet. We moved into a completely different, our own yard that it wasn't, we built the house and yada, yada.
Yeah.
And like my dad had this big deal because we had to get rocks out of the fucking yard to put the grass in. Like our yard was really like loaded with like rocks and dirt. And I would get up every day. He'd give me a penny a rock. He'd give me a penny a fucking rock. And when I was picking rocks, I was just like, oh my God, if I just get 1,000 of these rocks or whatever, I'll get a Super Nintendo
like
system
$10?
or whatever.
Like $10? Is that 1,000?
I don't even know, but I just remember thinking that I could get a PlayStation or something through it. Like, so I'm like, oh.
No, you couldn't.
Oh my God. This is tangentially related, but like when you were just talking about a Super Nintendo, this is a crazy experience I had as a kid. The day I got the Super Nintendo, I was so fucking excited. I had played it at somebody else's house. I'd never owned the gaming system. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. We went to the store, we got it, we came back, and as we were bringing it in, my childhood dog ran outside and got hit by a fucking car.
What? Oh my God. Are you fucking serious?
And yes. And this was not an immediate death.
I didn't get him a trigger warning. God, I could get a trigger for everything these days. I mentioned Super Nintendo and I didn't trigger one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. But fun side fact about the dog. I wanted to name the dog Simpson because I love The Simpsons.
Badass.
But O.J. Simpson was a very popular trial at the time. And so I had to name him Fred instead. And so anyway, I remember being inside and just feeling all of this like emotional whiplash where we are waiting for, I don't even remember who it was, some sort of animal control or something to come get this dog because he's howling in the street. Oh my God.
And the only thing that's missing here to me is like a neighbor walking by and even though he's trying to do the right thing, a neighbor walking by with a shotgun and just blowing his brains out in front of you or something.
It would have been more merciful.
I mean, it would have been, but it still would. The image would be worse. It'd be in a way, you know what I mean?
I remember crying and playing Super Mario World while my childhood dog howled outside because it was dying.
That's all you can do. You gotta have some joy. You need balance, right?
Right.
Can't mourn forever.
So you just played the game. You weren't even out there with the dog. They probably wouldn't let you.
No, they wouldn't let me go out there. Are you kidding me? Like traumatize me further.
What are the freaking odds? The series of events, the butterfly effect that had to go into play here. You get this machine, this big thing that you've been waiting for. You walk in the house, the dog runs out the door and gets hit by a fucking car. Like there's so many other things
doesn't even allow him to play the game in peace. Like the dog's dead. Oh, we're sad. Let's just play this game. It's like, no, while I play this dog, my dog's in the background being like, and
its back legs were broken. I remember looking outside and it crawling in the street and them having to like pick it up and put it on the side.
Have you thought about this in a long time, or did it just like honestly got randomly just
pop up in your head?
I definitely think about it every now and then.
I don't blame you.
That's a dark, traumatic experience.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on telling it today, but it is a thought that pops in my mind probably like once a month.
You know what's funny? The dark humor is still humor, and it's funny in its way, even though obviously it's fucking terrible. But it is like you can look at it. I feel like, and there is funniness to it in a sense, but it's terrible.
For sure.
From your reaction, it doesn't feel like it.
Me and Tyler were talking before the show started about me and my cat and the idea of him dying. Trust me, I'm just like, we're sitting. It's more that if all those things hadn't happened in the way they happened, it wouldn't be funny in any capacity to me for some reason. But it's like this series of events.
Dog died.
And if you would ask me as a child, either your dog lives and you don't get a Super Nintendo, or your dog dies and you do get a Super Nintendo.
What would you have picked? Be honest.
I don't fucking know. It would have been a real Sophie's choice.
Of course it would have been, to be honest with you.
Sophie's choice!
Yeah.
You're a kid, you're stupid!
Being over a fucking video game.
But he's a kid, he's stupid.
Yeah. And I love that Super Nintendo.
Right. And it still could be with you today.
I love that dog.
That was such a good turn of events. I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, it really shined through.
What was your favorite game after the main one? What was your favorite game
with the Super Nintendo than the dog?
Yeah.
What was your favorite game on Super Nintendo?
What'd you say?
What was your favorite game on Super Nintendo?
Battletoads, maybe.
Oh, I don't even remember Battletoads.
Or Donkey Kong Country.
Okay, that's
games.
fair.
My favorite memory with that dog. I have no clue.
Exactly.
I mean, the worst one we just recapped.
Right, so that's all you have to live by. So
dog.
probably
Freddy's
beat a
gone.
fucking sick game on that video game system
Sacrifice
too.
that dog to hell to get that game. I feel like there was some witchcraft. There was witchery going on. There was witchery afoot. Any other
Tyler? Well, do you have any? I can go to a list. Do you have any?
I thought that's another thing. I truly, and it's like I don't know that like for a fact that it's not true, but I was completely on board with like everything supernatural being real, full on when I was a child.
Dude, it's funny that you say that. By the way, that was honestly next on my list of things I had written down.
Really, supernatural stuff.
Kinda, yeah.
Honestly, like I full on believed that stuff. Another thing, okay, I'm sorry to like side tangent. It's a part of this thing, but like I watched this video recently that was talking about how when you're a child, things were more vibrant. It showed you like a filter of what it looked like when you were a kid and what it looks like now.
Yeah,
and it actually, your brain actually was seeing more vibrant colors because it was like picking up on that stuff for the first time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like making it more intense or whatever, but like or intense or just what it really looks like. I feel like a lot of stuff now is like dulled because of my adultness.
Oh, totally. Totally.
The thing is, I think that sometimes people can have feelings on that. You guys will have more, especially Scott, I'm sure. My take on some of that is it's totally true. It's obviously true.
Yeah.
I don't know that if it's good or bad. I think that probably it's just human nature. I don't know how you could personally completely avoid that. Now, again, Scott might have some more thoughts on that.
Human nature to what? To believe in the supernatural?
No, to eventually you grow up, the more, because what I've seen, what I've heard when I heard about it before is like the problem is the more you grow up, the more there's not shocking that you just know things. Yeah. So and I don't know how you could possibly avoid that. You can try to, I'm sure, do meditation or I'm sure some stuff, but
yeah,
I don't know how you can avoid. Well, yeah, there you go. There you go. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course, that's definitely a way, but you know what I mean? Like, right?
DMX or DMT, you mean?
Ayahuasca, yeah,
Oh no, DX, yeah, that's fair. Dextromethorphan. No, I was gonna say like, it's funny to me too, like, yeah, I feel like absolutely, like when I was a kid, I remember adults talking about like, I forgot this or that. Like somebody would ask them a question about something in their past, and they're like, I don't remember. And I would always like, how the fuck do you not remember? Right. Like I remember everything, and it's one of those like over time you do like there's just so many days and like
dude. I mean,
over time, it does fade.
I've always had a fascination with that in the sense of like, for example, like when you say that, like what's weird to me is that in a way it is all there though. Like it's funny how you'll have like things in your head, like your dog story, for example. Even though you said you do think about it once in a while, but there are things in my head like that they're there and I won't remember them. And then if I'm talking to you guys, say about some night in Grand Rapids or something, I'll be like, holy crap, I forgot about that. But then it's like I remember everything about it instantly. Yeah. But like I didn't.
Yeah. Once that it wasn't link is connected, it's like, oh, I can go through that night or that day or whatever.
Which is so weird to me in a way. Because it shows that it's all there in some place.
But I agree with you. I always thought that like it was weird that people would say they forgot because it's like it happened like 10 minutes ago or like a day ago or
even it happened like a year ago.
Yeah,
but it's like what am I? I'm some idiot 10-year-old. I've got 100 memories.
Yeah,
right. That's the thing. That's the thing. Like you think about it now, like in your lives now, like you're doing this, you have a job, you have this and that, and so like it's like of course you're gonna freaking forget some things. You're doing so much. Usually, the older you get and whatnot. And when you talk about like the paranormal stuff, like I believe for one in spirits. So I still believe in them. So I'm not saying it's a child thing that I believe. I don't believe.
It's muddy, but like I question it now. When I was a kid, I was like, no, that should exist.
So like we went to we did a lot of East Coast trips as a family, and we did like Civil War battlefields and stuff like that, history crap. Anyway, one of these times, for example, like we were staying in Gettysburg, and like we were just on this motel, not like a Holiday Inn, just like a motel. And I swear to God, dude, it was on the battlefield, and it was literally like that battle happened like July 1, 2, and 3, or I don't remember exact dates, but it's around July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd or whatever when it happened. And we were staying on one of those days, dude. And I threw a fucking tantrum because I was like, dude, we're going to be in this hotel on the battlefield. And the fucking day it happened, I was convinced there was like ghosts walking around outside. And maybe there fucking was. I don't even know.
Have been, yeah, you know.
But like, my parents, like, I like basically screamed the whole night because I was so terrified that there was going to be ghosts like walking around the hotel.
Did you see anything? Did you
I don't remember seeing anything, but I remember in my head swearing I heard like walking around or something.
Hey, you might have. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, it's funny to me, like, because I am so into like magic and the supernatural and stuff nowadays. And when I was a kid, I was such like, people talk about gifted kid burnouts or whatever, and that
here we go.
To a fucking T, like that was me. I was such a pretentious little shit. Like I did not believe in any supernatural stuff whatsoever because I was like, oh, smart people don't believe in that,
right?
And then like I would even do down to like I think about like still to this day, I'll say my favorite color is green, but I know exactly where that origin comes from, and it comes from Meet the Parents, where there's some line in there about how like smart people statistically like green.
Are you serious?
Dead ass.
That's hilarious,
and I remember
dude.
being 8 or 9 to be like that.
And you just decided that's it? That's my favorite color?
Yeah.
That's how you got. So is it still your favorite color to this day?
It is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And you know, now that you said that, I've got to know because I know how mine came to be. Tyler, do you have a favorite color and you know why?
Yes, the movie Dune, the mini series Dune. When I was a kid, their eyes, electric blue.
Really? And
it came from watching that because I had a huge crush on the girl that was the main actress.
Yeah. Was this a cartoon or a TV?
I don't remember. It was fucking sci-fi. It's nobody super famous.
Oh, okay. Was it cartoon or was it live action?
It was live action and it was on Sci-Fi Channel.
Because I mean, I could do a whole, and I might, by the way, at one point do a whole episode on the hottest female cartoons of all time. That might be coming at some point.
Yeah,
so I wasn't going to judge you.
Pretty hot cartoons out there, you know.
Kim Possible, you know. I mean,
Possible. I wouldn't say this is too blocky. I'm going to go with like cool world. Man, that chick is.
Well, I don't know what Cool World is.
I don't either. Well, you know,
Brad Pitt. He's in like a half. He's real, but he's in a cartoon world.
Gotcha.
And there's a girl.
I've never heard of it. It actually sounds kind of cool.
Rated R. I think it's rated R, PG-13 at least. Yeah, they're swearing in it, and it's like more adult content. And there is a hot chick in that.
I honestly didn't think about this now, but we might do that.
Real, and there's also a hot woman
at some point.
Cool World, or like Jessica Rabbit, whatever.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into this another time. I already decided.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna. Yeah,
but you remember the eyes of this, and do you remember thinking though, like that's it, my favorite color, or did it just over time you just were drawn to it?
It was tied into my horny little ass. I feel like I had a crush on that chick, and also like, I love that color kind of in general. I just never really picked a color, and then after I saw that, I was like, oh, that's my favorite color.
What about you?
It's purple. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Usually it's not that hard to find out it's purple. My room's purple. You know what? I just like the flavor grape of like anything. Like gum, Gushers, you know, anything that was grape. I just like that flavor, and then it just led to me liking the color purple. I don't know.
Grape's real divisive. It's my least favorite.
It's not
major flavor.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Grape soda. Get the fuck out!
Are you serious?
Delicious. What are you talking about? I mean, I go orange all day, but like,
orange, disgusting.
Can we? I know this is a little bit off subject, but can we talk about how these flavors, your grape, your banana,
they're nothing like their
nothing
thing.
like it. Nothing like the actual
orange doesn't need to be. It's just delicious.
All of the flavors that are colored are just like kind of like maybe what you think that color would taste like or something like
yes, that is very accurate.
And
like, it never tastes like the actual fucking thing.
And
they taste like banana tastes like yellow. It doesn't taste like banana.
No,
right, totally. And it's it's almost like what Homer said, like in The Simpsons, like to steal a Homer line, like one time, like he's offering Lisa some donuts, and she's like, "Do you have any fruit?" And he's like, "Purple. Purple's a fruit." And it's like, that's what they did with the flavors. I mean, to be honest, with you.
Absolutely. It is always like, this tastes like purple. This doesn't taste like grape.
No, it doesn't taste. So I should have said grape. I said grape, but it's just I like purple flavoring.
Because grape, even grape doesn't really taste like grapes, like actual grapes.
What do you mean grape?
Well, grapes are grapes.
Like a grape
so.
juice or a grape fucking other thing. It never
but
really
a grape
tastes like
is a grape.
Yeah, unless it's like grape juice. Yeah. I just mean like if you had like a flavoring of a thing, like one of the little squirt packets of like it says grape, but you're putting it in some water.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't taste like grapes.
Well, like Scott said, yellow doesn't taste anything like a banana. Like not even close.
Yeah, no. Like, these candy companies and Kool-Aid and shit are just like straight up slandering this fruit.
Oh, I know.
How are they coming? The thing is it's amazing that they can make it taste like a color. Who's in their test room tripping balls and telling them the secrets of the universe to make you taste a color?
No, actually, I don't want to get too into this, but you can get into how food tastes, and they make a lot of money trying to figure out. I'm sure Scott and some of you guys pay attention to this stuff, but people make a lot of money trying to figure out how they can make food that we eat taste like we think it tastes like, making it cheaper and cheaper and not having it really contain the things, which is another dark story.
Like a McDonald's hamburger
does
not taste like a hamburger.
No, it doesn't.
It tastes like your conception of a hamburger.
Right, exactly. That's a whole nother, like I said, that could be a whole nother fucking thing. But so I'm gonna get to this other one, even though honestly the paranormal stories, I could have even gone more into that, but I wanted to get to this one for sure. And this is like something I had like, because I was a big G.I. Joe guy, big Ninja Turtles guy and Ghostbusters guy. I'm sorry, G.I. Joe too, but actually much bigger than the Ghostbusters, much bigger than the Ninja Turtles. But G.I. Joe fits almost more. When I was a kid, dude, I swear to God, you're so dumb. And like I would see those commercials of like a G.I. Joe thing, and it'd be like, he's going through water and firing out flamethrowers and shit. And I thought that was legit, like gonna happen. And when I would get the toy, they were so disappointing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Those commercials made those things look so badass because half of them would be like animated, so you'd think they could do the things the animation could do. Right? And it's like, no, they can't. They're chucking one of these things into water. Yeah, and then shooting it cool. But like so many times where
they were mostly animated though. You're right.
Especially toys that you get from like McDonald's and stuff. I always thought they were gonna be so cool. Then I get it, and it's like, this is a piece of fucking junk. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Why did I get this? I have better toys at home.
Do you remember anyone like any of those? Like he mentioned Transformers. That's a good one. Like, Scott? Do you remember like any like one of those little Saturday shows or something you would watch that you?
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
I remember thinking Battleship seemed like the coolest fucking game in the goddamn world.
They're the best, coolest commercials ever.
You're there in camouflage. You got a little headset. You're firing missiles. Like I was like, I want
and that. Literally, you're just fucking sitting there going,
like, here's
3-2,
full of little plastic things.
Seriously,
D5.
Go ahead.
And it's just like
have some cool ones though that had sound effects that I did like.
Yeah,
later on, but the basic ass one is just a little box.
I remember being like, I want to blow some shit up. I want a headset.
Yep.
Dude, yes, the headset. Like you're right.
They have ones with headsets eventually. Not when we were but absolutely, I have played with like a legit one where it makes lights and noises.
Okay, but the most of us didn't get that. And Scott's right. Like in the commercial,
you're going to Toys R Us and you're spending $20 on this bullshit box.
Yeah,
with plastic little toys.
Do you remember that too? Like when you mentioned Toys R Us, like I think all of us like
Toys R Us was amazing when I was a kid, and now it's just kind of
Well, it's not even around for the most part. But like I remember when I was a kid, like my parents were not. None of our parents were like poor. Like you know what I mean. And I think. My parents did pretty well.
Your
actually.
parents both had considerably more money than mine.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it like that. But like that's the thing. My parents had money, but my parents are very thrifty though. They were not. I didn't just get whatever I wanted by any means. They could have given me more.
Had to earn it. I was always
I don't know if I had to earn it, but they just didn't give me any. But either way, but we would go to. I had friends that they would go to Toys R Us, for example, and it would just be like every time they went, they'd be like, "Oh, if you want," I'd be with them, and he'd be like, Danny, you can get a toy.
My cousin.
I never had that. We would go in there
and
I would just be like, see all this shit I wanted. I'm like, oh, I want this Ghostbuster thing. I want this thing. I want this thing. And I'd be like, no, you can't get that. We were just there to buy video games for the fucking store. But
yeah. No, I definitely had to work for everything with that stuff. So
do you remember that? God, that was a good one. Battleship was a really good one. I'm trying to think like.
I really liked Candyland. I mean, it never like it held up to the hype. I felt.
Yeah, those commercials really did sell Candyland. It made you feel like you were gonna head into like some sort of magical world.
And it kind of felt that. I got that sense when I was a kid. Other games that like. Trying to think that games that disappointed me that made it me think that they were awesome.
Did you ever fucking get the Rat Trap? What was it? Rat Trap or whatever?
Mouse Trap. Okay. Oh, dude. Okay.
Go on.
Mouse Trap when we were kids kicked ass.
Yes.
That game delivered.
It delivered the first 5 games, and then you're losing pieces.
I never even could even get it set up.
Yeah, you got to keep all the pieces for sure. I was enough of a spaz about those pieces. I kept them for a long time. Yeah. But I got like years ago for a kid, I bought Mousetrap.
Yeah.
And they really cut down on that guy.
I feel like it was exactly the same and you just see it differently now.
No, I remember setting it up and I remember it being like a large board and there were like 20 pieces. There was like
yeah, I feel like your kid ass mind made you think that and it's the exact same game.
No, because there's shit I remember that's not in there.
Like what?
Like the ball would drop and it would hit the little teeter-totter with the guy on it, and the guy would fly up and he would bump into something else, and like they just completely got rid of that. That's not
that is
there
pretty
anymore.
lame.
It was literally like the ball just kind of goes around the slide and
really
the thing, and then like boom.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So it's not that great. I feel like they're. I don't know.
By the way, real quick, a lot of those games, if you thought about, you mentioned like Candyland shit, dude, so many of those games looking back on it, it's so funny. They had all these different versions of almost the same thing though. Like, dude, they had no skill whatsoever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sorry. So many of those things, dude. Like,
Sorry's got a little strategy too.
Okay, a little. Okay, that was a bad one. But like Candyland, obviously none.
It's pretty much random.
No,
it's pretty much random.
I think you can choose what side you
piece to move, and that affects things.
Yeah, I guess that's true. A little bit of strategy,
but a lot of them, though, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them were very much just like, I mean, just roll the dice, you know, and see what happens.
Chutes and ladders. I hated that game because it's like life.
There's no skill to
like,
it.
oh, it's going along, everything's all right, and then you get on a ladder that just sends you right back to the beginning.
Yeah, and I remember they had one of those chutes that would send you like almost all the way back to the beginning.
From the end. Yeah.
There was two big. Well, there was two big ones though. There was one ladder that went really high and one chute that went really low. Yeah. But again, that game involves no skill whatsoever. It is literally just anyway. It's fucking God. It's already. Dude, we've already been going.
Can I? There's a story I really wanted to tell you guys that involves misconceptions. Dude. Okay, and Tyler might be familiar with this to a degree. I know I've never told this to you at all, Eric. But like, okay, this is an example of childhood misconceptions being completely like abused by adults.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, when I was. Okay, like I said, I was totally like a gifted kid burnout. Like I went from when I was in kindergarten, I knew how to read, and they used to let me like read to the kids before nap.
Holy shit!
Yeah, dude, I thought I was like, dude, I'm just gonna coast through life. Everything's gonna be great. Like
that's almost worse genius. That it happened like that.
No, totally. And so there was like a situation where I skipped from kindergarten to third grade. And
what?
Yeah.
You didn't do first and second grade?
No, I did not do first and second
That's
grade.
Fucking hilarious, dude. Holy shit. I didn't know that stuff really happened, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Skipping? Yeah.
Especially that early, though. That early.
That is pretty early. Kindergarten.
Wow, what the fuck happened?
And to be fair, like, I think probably not a good idea. Because now you're a kid. That's such a huge age gap when you're a kid. Like, I'm 6 and I'm around 9-year-olds.
Right,
like, that's a whole different ball game.
No wonder you knew about fucking tossing salad and shit or whatever.
Right. But okay. Actually, funny enough, I remember being 6 years old, and one of the 9-year-old kids had Duke Nukem.
That's hilarious, dude.
I don't know if you remember that game, but I
remember it.
I secretly installed it on my computer.
That's hilarious.
You could go into that strip club and wave that money at that.
Yeah.
Some pixelated titties.
That's so funny.
And anyway,
your best memories.
Right.
Duke Nukem.
But okay, so my parents were trying to get me into like a gifted kids school or whatever.
Right.
But we didn't have a lot of money, so like they explored around. They found this school called the New School for Creative Learning. That was a charter school, and
also
like,
it's good because it's new, so that means it's better.
And it's for creative learning. I mean,
right.
how perfect could it be? Yeah. And so I went to this school like where they sold it really well to my parents. I remember being there. I remember them being excited, me being excited, them going. We go on all sorts of field trips. We have like a very unconventional teaching style.
Right.
I'm like, okay, cool. So I go there, and it's really like 2 trailers in a parking lot.
Oh boy.
And like I remember like it was literally you had kindergarten through 2nd grade in one trailer.
Yeah.
And then you had 3rd through 6th grade in the other.
What? And they're just like one of those like I remember back in the day there used to be like portable classes almost like kind of just that like my Lord.
Totally that. And we're all together, like just multiple grades all together. And they're not teaching us anything. Like at all. like I don't know if this was
your misconception is you thought this was your leg up in life, and it was not.
Well, no, I'll get to the misconception in a second. I'm just trying to set the scene.
Okay.
So there was literally like we would go. I don't know if this was a money scam or what. Like,
right, like I'm wondering what the deal was because they on the same hand they still would be. I mean, that happens all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not naive, but they would have to be accredited enough, I would assume, or fake something, I suppose. You can always fake
if you're
shit.
a charter school, you don't really have to.
Okay,
That's the thing about a charter school.
Okay.
Is like it's pretty much there's no real guidelines for what you're allowed
Which is
to
what
do.
I went through that Montessori school, by the way. They wasn't considered a gifted school, but I mean, dude, that when I was talking about some of that, like it opened me up socially, but like school wise, it's why I think I did shitty the rest of my life because we would just, if it was nice out, we'd go play soccer for 4 hours. You know what I mean? So
okay, that's weird. I thought Montessori was like a gifted kids school. I thought it's like a rich, like a.
Well,
like
I think
I
think it's a rich version of thinking that you're going to be getting one-on-one learning. Like you don't have to be gifted to get. You don't have to be gifted to get in it. But they do the things I think that you're hoping what you were like talking about, like kind of more unconventional one-on-one learning versus a big faceless teacher who's going through kids every day or something.
Right. Okay. So we're they're like letting us outside just all day, every day. Like that's what I remember. I remember we would show up, we'd be inside for like a half hour while they would do roll call and stuff. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, kids, go play outside. And there was like a bunch of woods outside. We would just be running around these woods.
Jesus Christ.
I remember there was this game called...
I loved it.
Oh, I did. I totally loved it.
Of course you
did. And like, here's just a brief example of the insanity of this school. There was a hill there. And we would constantly play King of the Hill, which was like, we would...
Yeah, we know what King of the Hill is. Throw down the other kids and get on top.
Yeah, basically. And it was just us kids doing it, so the teams weren't clear, and they would be like, whatever. And the thing is, we would throw dirt clods at each other.
Of course.
But the dirt clods turned to rocks over time.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, this is just a perfect example of the insanity of this school. There was a time where this kid for days chased me throwing rocks at me. And I remember this. And I was like, I want to get this fucking kid back. I got to figure out something to do.
Life is so weird, dude. Honestly, like, I know we all think that you don't need supervision. Like, in a way, when you're like, let kids be... Humans, like these are humans. You know, when we watch Kid Nation, I know that there's directors there and stuff, for example. But look at this.
No,
they're in Kid Nation.
Kid Nation, they're letting them do the same shit. They're just like, go ahead.
We just got cameras on them, and they're making money off it. That's all.
They're not letting them throw rocks on Kid Nation.
You don't know. You don't know.
They're coming in before the rocks get thrown.
They let that kid go by the fucking bowl. What do we know?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway.
I remember I snuck into the trailer, one of the trailers, and found art supplies and got some yarn. And like there was a tree outside that was full of prickers. It was like a big, thick log full of prickers. And I broke that off and I made a trap. I tied the yarn to like a tree so that somebody would trip over it and they'd get smacked by this.
And obviously it's going to be the person you want it to be. Like,
yes. Well, it did turn out to be him. He chased me with rocks. It went perfect. He chased me with rocks. I jumped over the thing. He hit it. Had cuts like all over his back.
Seriously? That's awesome.
Yeah, you got him. You got him good, man.
But
do you remember what happened out of that? Do you remember?
I remember that kid just got pissed and he stopped fucking with me.
Seriously, that's it? Like no one stepped in though?
No parent even like repercussions? Like
there was no supervision at this school.
So what did they do? You remember in your childhood brain what they did? Did they just say when they told you guys to go out? Did they just say,
didn't they
okay,
go,
guys,
like
explore?
He swore up? Like what? They didn't say anything to you about that?
The only time I remember getting in trouble there is one time I said something pissed me off.
Okay.
And they like talked to my parents and they're like, he's cussing in school.
Cussing?
Yeah.
But what would they say to you before you went out though, for example? Like when you went out for hours at a time, what would they say? Just do you remember? Just kind of like,
okay, guys, we're gonna play outside. Yeah.
Did you do any did you do
any work? Yeah.
Any work?
No, we would very rarely go on field trips. I remember that where it would
How
be
long
like,
were you there?
Oh, we're going to the zoo one day. 2 years.
How long did your parents not understand that these things weren't happening that they told you were going to be happening?
Right? Like, what do you do today? The same thing we do every day. Just run outside and play.
I have genuinely been very confused about that. Like, I remember talking to my parents and being like, yeah, they just let us play outside all day.
I feel like...
And they're like, okay, yeah, sure they do. Like,
I feel like the real misconception here is that your parents straight lied and didn't want you to have to, like, just threw you in this fucking like school and we're like, oh, you're smart. You're like, you're
that's a good point.
You're good.
That's a great point.
You're gonna learn and stuff, and it's just like, no, it's essentially a daycare. Have fun.
They knew what you were, and they didn't want you fucking dealing with you in regular school.
Less supervision.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's probably the cheapest they got. Like that's gotta be, like, they're like, you're so special.
Dude, I wonder seriously. He's right. Like looking back on it, I wonder if your parents really got hoodwinked. If they were just like, good enough.
2 years is too long to not know that your kid's not learning anything. Except, I mean, you probably were just reading and doing the same shit anyway, so they thought it was
I never had homework. I never...
Yeah. But they probably thought, I mean,
they knew.
No. If your parents wanted to believe this, you could argue like in schools like that, maybe they think like they're doing so much work in school because they're not in the regular school where they're getting all the bullshit.
Yeah, where they're giving you homework, like you're learning it in the class or learning it, practical skills.
Yeah, you're getting right down to the shit, not like this fucking wasted time of like drawing your
I can see that. I'll give your parents the benefit of the doubt, but it's still like 2 years.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
2 years and your kid's just playing outside. Honestly, getting rocks thrown at him, creating traps, all these things that like you should know at least at one point.
And I remember talking to my parents about it. I remember being like, oh yeah, I made this trap and I got this kid that was like messing with me.
They absolutely just threw you to the wolves.
Yeah, I didn't care.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they had in their hands and they thought this is the best way to take care of it.
Yeah, they told you were skipping ahead 3 grades so that they could throw you to the wolves.
Where did you go after this? Do you remember the circumstances?
First grade, you were in kindergarten, right? That kindergarten was too expensive.
No, it was a public school. Cost him nothing.
Oh, it did?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Then what?
I think they were literally like, oh, yeah, the school has unconventional teaching style. He's just talking about that.
Yeah, they do. It's
but why did you eventually leave it?
Flies style. It's just figure it out, kids.
Right. What did you
do you remember why you left or what the circumstances were? And did you just go to regular school after that?
Reason?
I demanded it actually after this thing happened in 4th grade that I was about to like talk about. I was like, I don't want to go to this school anymore. I want to go I'll go to public school. I don't care. They ended up putting me in another charter school, but it was a much more normal charter school.
Gotcha.
But okay, so 4th grade, they do this thing where they're like, we have an unconventional like teaching style. We're going to teach you kids how to run a business. And So I'm like, we're like,
I
okay,
do
cool.
remember
We're
this.
all excited. They have us like work on a name for a hot dog place. So we end up calling it Hot Diggity Dog.
That's not bad.
No, right? Yeah,
Actually.
totally.
Pretty good name.
That song "No Diggity" was popular at the time,
Yeah,
and I
Hot
think like
Diggity Dog.
it came from that. And so, they would tell us, yeah, if you want to, you can work in this business, and you can
Oh
make
boy,
money.
here we go.
Yeah, it's straight up child labor.
Yep.
And they had
That is.
like they opened up a hot dog stand
Oh my god.
like next to the school.
And just use slave labor.
Yeah, just straight up. And I remember, and they would tell us, they would be like, "Oh yeah, you'll make this much
Yeah.
money."
Did you get any money out of
Yeah,
it?
this was the thing, is they told us that you would make $100 if you worked there.
Yeah.
For throughout the school.
I
year.
mean, that's not bad.
No, I mean it's way
As a
less
kid.
than minimum wage. But
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a kid, I'm like, this is insanely exciting. I am for this.
Yeah.
I worked at this place all the time. Like
Right.
every day I would go and like, you know, you'd have
Who
other
was buying
kids,
the hot dogs?
people
Like,
who pulled up, they would do deliveries.
that's badass, dude. I love hot
yeah.
dogs, even though they're
Like, and
terrible.
teachers would be driving
Deliveries.
deliveries. This place was a money scam. That's what I'm saying.
Were driving deliveries.
They had DoorDash going fucking back then.
Like night lighting. What is the word?
Gaslighting?
No, like working two jobs.
Oh,
There's a
moonlighting.
term. Moonlighting. They're
yeah.
moonlighting at their job.
Yeah, totally.
Why they were there?
Genius, by the way, genius.
Yeah.
They're doing deliveries, so they got in their cars and delivered hot dogs.
Guys.
Yeah,
They left
absolutely.
you to go deliver
Absolutely.
hot dogs.
By the
I
way,
got
who are
with
these
them
people?
sometimes too. Like they would take us with them sometimes.
That's
I-
insane.
by the way,
not
wow.
cool.
I
Did you
love
have
hot
to-
dogs. I try to eat less of them as I've grown up. Unfortunately, I hate the fact that they're not. I love them. I would eat them way more if they were better for you.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, I don't think that I would ever order like a hot dog delivery.
No.
No.
Like they're what do you do? Rolling up with 2 hot dogs and like, here you go. Do you want ketchup and mustard?
I mean, if I weren't a vegetarian, or I might. You might never be like, yeah, there's this hot dog place near here. Like,
By the way, they
something
basically
different.
created DoorDash, is also what you're saying.
Yeah,
so the
yeah,
way they're
totally.
genius.
Totally. And so, yeah, working at this place every day. I mean, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because it would be open essentially during the entire time school was
And people are just going up. Were you making change and stuff? Like, or what was your job? Like, do you remember? Like,
my job was to make the hot dogs.
Oh, of course, obviously.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what you
yeah.
do with
They
the
don't
slave
want them
labor,
messing with the money.
right? You
It's
can't
a
let
money
the slaves
scam.
touch the money.
Yeah, totally. I don't think we ever handled them.
That's the biggest
course not.
rule number 1 in slave labor.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't let the slaves have the money.
And
God,
so they
no.
promised us $100. We get to the end of the year, and they're like, all right, now you kids are going to learn about taxes.
Taxes.
And so they pull out this whiteboard, and they start being like, okay,
No!
I'm not kidding. They go, okay, you made $100. So,
But
yeah, so, okay, but then you got to start thinking about you have to pay your federal taxes. You have to pay your state taxes.
Yeah.
You have to pay your property taxes.
property taxes
Yeah,
are not
they
the owner,
start
you're
doing
just a
this,
worker.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
own a home.
No, totally. They start talking about car insurance and shit. Like,
What?
Oh my God, you were just paying, you just
Then pay
worked so
me
these
the
guys.
full amount that I should get paid if I was a worker.
yeah, absolutely.
$100 you're gonna
Like,
take
even as a worker, dude, you don't worry about property tax. Like, you have 2 federal
Right.
and local. I guess FICA, kind of, but
one
Yeah.
car insurance.
Car insurance. I remember them writing car insurance on there because
my
I
God.
actually yelled out, but I don't have a car.
Yeah,
Because I was mad.
yeah, yeah. You should have been.
And so they cut this down to $1.
Oh,
They cut it all down and they go, so at the end of this, you get $1. Everybody
I
gets
would
$1.
kill them. I would be like, I'm done.
oh my God. By the way, just real quick, I was laughing so hard that I hit my microphone turned off for like a second because I hit the button. That's how hard I was laughing at that situation.
Oh my God. It's like a spit take,
$1,
but extra. Yeah, they gave us $1. And
Dude, it should, even if they want to do this taxes bullshit, honestly, God, if they had maybe given you 80,
Yes.
Look, it's still ridiculous because you worked a whole year, but at least you could be like, okay, that's a little lesson. And $1, that was honestly, you know why, dude?
$1.
That led back to them
and
fucking
not
understanding.
Telling you till that point too that hey, taxes are a thing.
No,
you gotta.
No, that was just honestly in the end. They probably looked it up and figured out that if they only gave you $1, there was somehow they could get off by saying
making a ton of money off this shit.
No, but like, you know what I'm saying, Scott? You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably looked into it and they're like, if we technically even give them 100, it will be like, holy shit, now we really are running a business and we could get in trouble. Like, I bet by giving you that $1, it was some loophole.
Like, oh, it's school, so technically whatever. Yeah, some kind of loophole to get around.
I'm betting too at some point. My guess is they were like, yeah, we'll give each of these kids $100. We'll still make a bunch of money. And then maybe over time, it was just, well, fuck, like we've been giving ourselves all this money. We don't have the money to give to these kids.
Right.
Something.
Yeah.
But whatever it was, like, I remember I was legitimately like so pissed about it. Like, I remember at one point when they said $1, I was like, I guess I'm like 7 years old at this point. I'm like, $1, what are we gonna buy? A pencil? And
you yelled this out, legit. Yelled this out.
Where are we gonna buy a pencil?
Right.
Actually, back then you used to be able to get pencils for like $0.25. Remember at the library or some shit? There'd be that pencil
totally.
machine.
Yeah, I had overestimated the price of a pencil for sure.
Yeah. He was also saying, "Fuck that $1."
Seriously. And so I was getting so mad about it. They actually made me go to like the quote unquote principal's office, which was just a side room in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know,
of course. As you do.
And so, wow, we have a listener from Germany right now.
I can't, sometimes when you do this shit, like, I can't. This seems kind of crazy. I mean, I'm drunk and I'll shave my head clean if you invite me on stream. It's like, but I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? What that is.
Yeah. We could talk about, I might invite that guy on to shave his head.
Okay. It's up to you. I'll let you guys, I guess. I mean, why not? I suppose. I don't know how to do it.
Watch it. I'd check it out.
But anyway, so they put me in the little side office or whatever, the quote unquote principal's office, and I'm just so pissed off and I'm stewing. And I realize like she is one of those spinny chairs, and I realize you can unscrew the back of the spinny chair. And then the back is not connected to anything. So I unscrewed the back of that. And she comes in after a couple of minutes. She goes, "All right, Scott," like sits down and falls backwards completely out of her chair.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is straight out of a fucking like a movie. Because you always see that like that. I mean, that's a very classic prank in a lot of ways.
For real.
And I kind of love. She was mad at me, but I never really got in trouble because I don't think they wanted to approach any of this
God, no,
stuff.
dude.
You know what I mean?
Do?
You open up that Pandora's box.
Are you kidding me? There's nothing they could have done. You could have fucking called her a cunt, and she wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah, she has no power.
None. I'm gonna let this thing slide this time only because we're so late, and we have to add them to the restream. It's actually harder than you know what I mean.
No, we don't need to do that right now. We could at some point in the future.
Okay,
maybe we'll totally do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that then to this dude
hit
who's
us
listening
up for when you want to do that.
Yeah,
and we'll totally.
Here, why don't you guys say it? You guys are better. Tyler, you like make the official. Let them know that. Just say
message. Hey, Christoph, if you want to do that, let us know for next episode, and we'll totally like add you to, and we'll do the first 10 minutes with you, and you can do that. And we can.
It's just so late in our show.
Message the Two Hippies One Drunk Facebook page.
Yep, message our page, and we'll totally set that up for next week.
He's watching on YouTube, but if you go to Two Hippies,
and thanks for checking us out.
Facebook. We'll do it for the next. We're just so late in this episode, and for people that are listening, by the way, like sometimes I forget about this, but sometimes we look at each other's faces. Some guy on our YouTube channel says he's watching us drunk from Germany, and he would shave his head if we invited him onto the stream. And we're interested. It's just very late in the episode already. So
we'll
if he's willing, we'll do it next week.
Yeah.
I suppose, for sure.
We'll do it. Just you got to message us if you want it.
This one, I have so much more on this. I always get so paranoid. I have so much more on this list that I wanted to get to.
That's great. Yeah, we
could do another.
Maybe we'll do it another time because everything on my left, I have left, I still would talk about. So. maybe I'll save this for another time. I'll save this for another time.
You don't want to hit us with any more right now?
Okay, I'll do this one. As a kid, I don't know we'll end on this one. As a kid, I don't remember what you guys thought about this, but I swear to God, I was so hook, line, and sinker on Publishers Clearinghouse. Like I legitimately, I mean, I was planning the money before we even sent in the. I'm like, what if we win $1 million? You know what I mean? And it was like I tried to get my parents to legit
Wasn't Publishers Clearinghouse the one with the 15,000 a month?
No, it was like Ed McMahon, and they'd have the commercials where he'd come up with back then I think it used to just be like $1 million
with $1 million.
It later turned into things like 15,000 a week for what or whatever. Back then I think it was just like $1 million or something, and he'd show up to the door. And I, even as a kid though, I'll say this, I was dumb enough to believe that we could win the money, but somehow smart enough to like beg my parents to buy magazine subscriptions, thinking that it would give us a better chance at winning the money. Like, because that was a deal that you would have to ship it back.
Yeah.
But they tried to get you the magazine subscription.
Yeah.
And so
you're probably not getting that. You think any of those are like real?
It turns out dude, in the McDonald's scam that came out, we found out that a lot of those were fake too. They were just mobsters.
Yeah,
that were
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. A lot of it is money laundering. Do you remember too? They used to have those catalogs where it would be like 3 CDs for like a cent or whatever. Yeah. And I would always be like, why are we not doing this?
Yeah, we could make so much money.
Oh, I did it 3 times, dude. Never paid.
Nice.
I got like 3. What I would do is I did it once. You got 10 CDs. How they told you is you got 10 CDs, right? And you had to pay a penny or something. No.
Okay.
Music CDs, like, and you get like
current
10
music CDs.
Oh yeah, absolutely new shit.
I mean, that's legit.
And it would be like 10 CDs for a penny.
For free it is.
And then they would tell you, oh, but you have to buy 1 CD later, right? Yeah. But I was a fucking 15-year-old. I signed up one time. They sent me mail for about 6 months saying that I owed some money. Then like a few months later, eventually they'd send me another one saying, hey, we'd love to have you back. Would you like? And I did it 3 times. Never paid anything.
Good call.
But no, but that Publishers Clearinghouse, dude. So just as a mind as a kid, I don't know if you guys, like I said, if you remember that, or if you remember the idea of like,
I do remember that.
Having those in your minds, like even the McDonald's thing, for example, like when you're a kid.
I always felt like that stuff was like a dream to me. I never thought that was attainable. It was always like,
but didn't you always like, did you never get caught up? Because I totally, like I said,
I believe that I thought it was a thing and people were getting that money, even though they probably weren't.
I totally thought. I remember getting like on those like McDonald's Monopoly things you're talking about, getting Park Place and be like, oh shit, I just need one more. I just need one more. Then I'm gonna win $1 million.
And fully believing that for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember me and a group of kids actually had. Do you remember Pizza Hut when Star Wars Episode 1 came out? Yeah, they had this like competition where they gave you like little like pogs essentially.
Yeah,
and it was the exact same thing as the McDonald's thing where it was like you get them all, you win a prize. And I remember us being like, oh shit, we'll all work together, like 3 or 4 of us, and we'll end up getting this. And we got like the 2 that were popular of like each of them.
That last one, you just ain't getting nothing.
Oh, of course. I mean, and that was the McDonald's thing.
The same thing with the McDonald's thing.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Like even after I knew it was a scam, because they did it. They do it after where they were like, "Now we're not a scam."
I don't know.
Yes, I believe they did one more.
And even then, I was like, "Oh, maybe this time." Like I know it's a scam, and I'm still believing it.
Well, you know what's funny too is and this wasn't even on my list, but like when you guys were when Scott was talking about like one more. Dude, I remember this too. And this isn't like almost again just dumb childhood like fantasy thought on some level. We would go on these like long trips, like I said, in like 2 weeks. Like, dude, we'd be gone in the like Boston for 3 days, and we'd go up to fucking wherever, and shit like that. And they're all historical shit, but long trips in big cities. And me and my brother had heard that somebody once had won a scratch off ticket, and I'm sure it happens technically more often than we think, but someone had won a scratch off ticket in the area or something. They didn't realize it, and they just threw it. They thought they lost, threw it on the ground. Someone else picked it up, like, oh my God, I won $1 million. Yeah. For one trip we went on, like, we're walking around dirty ass fucking like Boston and shit, picking up every single old lottery ticket off the ground,
trying to
looking for winners.
Make that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had like just fucking disgusting. If you think, I was literally picking them out of trash cans and stuff, and like, maybe this will be a winner.
And your odds of winning a lottery that way are even significantly lower than your odds of winning the lottery regular.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Those are already done. Like somebody found out that they're done.
So I guess, man, in the end, we went longer than I expected. I never know how these things are going to go, but that went pretty good in the end. So that will be it. I don't know. I guess we'll do this one's a weird episode. I don't know what final thoughts could be, but if you have any, if you want to give a final thought, feel free.
Stop lying to your kids.
I think it's easier said than done. No, just kidding.
What'd you say, Eric?
I think that's easier said. I think there are, and on some level, I think as a parent, you probably realize.
I think it's easier said than it. You just don't lie to your kids. Don't tell your kids Santa's real.
Okay, Santa's one thing. I know you guys have this real hang up on Santa, but don't you have to admit in reality, dude, if you really had to be a father from baby on, there are points where you're gonna fucking tell your kids just shit to get them in the car or shit to get
I'll give you that.
Okay.
Yeah, just like convenient, like
I don't mean real big lies. No.
I can say as a like I was a stepdad for years when I was married,
right?
And I can say one rule I always had for myself is I don't lie to the kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate that, like, people trying to manipulate their kid to get into the car or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, no, like, you tell that fucking kid, like, okay, if you want to act up, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm your boss.
I've never had a child, so I wouldn't know. I mean?
Like,
I would
even
just
in that scenario.
give it, like, just don't lie to your children.
I agree with that in principle, I should say, by the way. I just can see how parents sometimes, who are very good parents, still could get caught up in things where they'd be like, I just need this kid out of the mall. He's fucking on the ground, kicking and screaming, or I don't know, something.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. If you got to that point where your kid is acting that bad, you fucked up so many times to get there.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I know it's easy to say. None of us have kids. So it's very easy to pass.
Right.
I might lie to them, depending on.
I think that if I had a final thought, I think my final thought would just be more like, I think it's funny as we grow up to look back on things that we believed as kids, though. Like, for real, like little things that you saw a commercial and you honestly thought that's what it was going to be. And it's just so crazy as you get older, you realize what life is like. So it's, I don't want to be, I'm glad I'm not like a 7-year-old kid anymore, dude. Like, honestly, sometimes you think people, I know there's the wonderment that Tyler was talking about, but if you really were honest with yourselves, like, I don't say I would not want to be 7.
I like being a kid. I'd be down to be 7.
Yeah, if I got a choice in 1 second, I would go back.
Yeah,
for how? But like for serious, like for a serious,
this decaying meat body.
I mean, you're in the same decaying meat body at 7.
Let me ask you this:
you are, no matter what, every day.
Are you saying you'd rather
got that fucking new shine? Yeah,
new shine.
What are? But wait, what? But are you still thinking that you're going back and you know what you know? Or are you thinking you're going back?
No, I'd still go back just to be 7.
If I was going back and I got to know what I know, I mean, at that point, you are like...
Oh, well, then I would, of course, do it, but...
Yeah.
But you would do it without that, is what you're saying.
That. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, hands down.
I definitely would.
Question.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's interesting, honestly.
My childhood was pretty dope, for the most part.
I'm probably the most pan-like of the 3 of us, and I wouldn't do it, which is kind of funny.
Teenager, that's rough. But
I would absolutely go back to being a teenager. I
don't know.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't do
about that. I'd go 7. I could do it.
My teenage years were the best years of my life. I would absolutely go back to that.
Maybe.
People talk about, I hated high school and shit like that. I'm like, dude, I hate being a fucking adult.
We have very different lives now, Scott.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we led very different lives, which is why you want to go back and I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess like if I had a final thought, and this might be a little bit like out of left field, because like we haven't really touched on this with it, but like I think it's worth saying. Like, I feel like when we talk about misconceptions we had as kids and stuff like that, I don't believe any of us know what's fucking going on as adults.
That's true.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, what is this? Why are we here?
That is actually a solid point, especially these days with some of the shit going on. And the world seems to be crazy. So you're right.
Yeah,
that is actually a solid.
I just feel like as children, there are a lot different kind of misconceptions.
Yeah,
that like are easily proven wrong or not true.
What he's saying is just like when you grow up. Yeah, but he's just saying like You're right. They're both kind of crazy.
I just think I think it's a different kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like a childish lie compared to like things that are very hard to discern when you're adult.
Right.
It's more complicated, I guess.
Yeah, but it is still this thing all the time. We're like, I guarantee you, when I am 45, I'm gonna be like, man, some of that shit I thought when I was 32.
Oh, dude, no, that's true.
Absolutely.
100%.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah,
that's true.
Oh no, dude, 100%. Yes, I mean you're right. As long as you're someone who remotely grows as a person, yes, dude. When I look at, there's things from 5 years ago that I think are ridiculous that I had thoughts on. So
and
you're
like
right.
when I'm 80 years old and I'm taking my last breath and like moving towards the light and shit, I'm gonna be like, man, I didn't understand anything the whole fucking time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a great point. And that's a good ending.
I didn't know nothing.
That's a good place to end it. This was another episode of Two Hippies, One Drunk. We do this every Wednesday, and then it's available on Thursday through the podcast apps. We really appreciate. We're getting more and more traction, like I said, on social media with Tyler's photos drawings that he does every week and whatnot. And we really could, everyone that's listening, we appreciate it. We would love it if you could, if you have not gone and liked our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel, even if you don't go actively on there, it just helps us still grow it. And that's
we've been racking up those reviews too, and those are incredibly helpful.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
very much
keep doing it.
Yeah.
Your new viewer, give us a review and 5 stars on iTunes.
Right. And Tyler, it's you next week. I know we had a weird last week, right? So, but it's you.
It is me next week. We are doing the next 4 episodes of Kid Nation, so look forward to that. It's a great, show. We're gonna be covering the next 4 episodes, and then I'll have one last one. It's gonna be a 3-parter, all together, and then we'll be done with that and moving on to some other subjects that I'm interested in.
Sounds good.
So
all right, that's it, guys. Bye bye and shit.
See ya.